or cheese attractive. It's true, the mouse comes but when he bites that apple, this is what keeps happening to us. This is why we have no remedy. This is why stuff keeps happening to quote unquote black people. No matter how much we pray, how much we march, how much we believe, we keep hitting this. And everybody else keeps making progress and we can't figure it out. Do you understand? But you need to know what's at work. Don't get angry, get wise. It takes the same breath to speak the truth as the same breath speaks a lie. For the wind comes out the same mouth and out the same lungs. It's determined where you're coming from, where your heart is. Not complex. Now this is copy provided for Executive Order 11490, October the 19th, 1969, was released under the Freedom of Information Act and Disclosure. It's limited information. It was heavily redacted, but even with its redaction, it's very revealing. Now, this executive order was authorized in 69 to counteract the minority, blacks, Indians, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, and poor whites in their rise from up under the depression and powers that be, which you're being hit with right now. They're transferring wealth right in your face. Calling it a real estate bubble. You're the bubble. You understand? And the military code name is King Alfred. Now this event of widespread and continuing coordinated racial disturbances, which is what they'll tag it because they already know you're targeted and you've been trained to call it racism. All right? In the United States, King Alfred is at the discretion of the president is to be put into action immediately. This is the war powers that they're talking about. Do you understand? All right, now what I want to do, I'm going to give you a little bit of its military title. Then I'm going to go into the security page, and then I'm going to go into the page of political intent, so that you can get a concept of how Europeans are thinking of you. Just like when they start taking these people's houses and Green is down there auctioning all people's houses because they didn't pay quote unquote feudal lord taxes. That's not listed as feudal lord taxes, which is actually what they are. Yes. Feudal lord taxes to be transferred by way of the Queen of England to the popes of Rome by way of the Treaty of Verona of 1213, which is the foundation of servitude and peonage in North America, initiated by Colombo, etc., under Isabella and Ferdinand. Do you understand? In other words, this is the root of your so-called slavery. So those in government and in industry are up on this where you're not. That's the root of their arrogance. When they're dealing with you all arrogant, that's the root of their arrogance. Because they know this and know you don't. They know that most of our people think they're free, marching behind preacher guys who keep telling them they're free under civil rights, when they know that the Civil Rights Act was struck down by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional, which it is because it's 14th Amendment. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So the 14th Amendment was falsely ratified. That's why they excluded certain senators in order to give it the appearance of law, but it's not law. So that they could have these people thinking that they're free, and that the IRS for the popes of Rome could get free taxation, i.e. sharecropping for your labor, right on. As subjects. Get the point? So the people are under the guys that they're free when their actual labor was classified as foreign corporate activity under the princes of Rome, princes of England, who are in treaty with the popes of Rome. Thus the 14th Amendment and the role it plays. And also the initiation under Wilson, after Noble Raleigh set up the old Canaanite temple, Wilson had a meeting at Jekyll Island and sold the government to the bankers. See, because when you, the real people of the land, begin to wake up, they can't continue to lawfully list you as wards of the state. Because if you're conscious, they can't claim to be what? The trustees for this estate. That's why they secretly took the United States Constitution, which is an agreement, which is really a non-trust contract, and put it under implied trust, and then implied that you are foreign corporations, although you're the real heirs. That's why it was necessary for them to brand you black, Negro, Latino, colored, whatever you are this week, in order to justify the corporate person. Thus, the 14th Amendment. Are you clear? And I'm going to tell you some other things in a minute that's related to that. Remind me of even when you get in courts. All right? This book contains vital excerpts from Executive Order 11490, October the 19th, the King Albert Plan, 69, Rex 84 Plan, concentration camps, Executive Order 11490, expanded top secret silent weapons for quiet wars, introductory programming manual, operation research technical manual, TM SW 7905.1. That's the military designation of this information. But I'm going to go to the security page, then I'm going to go to a couple excerpts in this, then we're going to discuss the 14th Amendment more broadly and talk about certain remedies. This is an exotic map of the United States that all military persons are given privy to, and that all politicians are given privy to, but is not given to people in schools. Are you clear? So when you see that, don't think that you're just looking at this lightly. As an example, Mexico's up here. Tunis is up near the lakes. Newfoundland, Morocco, Palestine, Paris, England, Atlantis, Nassau, Moscow, Dublin, Malaga, China, Lisbon. So a lot of things that you think took place elsewhere took place here. This is what military people and industrialists know, being Masons, that is never told to you. Do you understand the necessity for secrecy? Because if you knew the truth, you'd have been free a long time ago. But by not knowing the truth and thinking you know something, and we're praying, and marching, I prayed on it. And catching it right on. And we're always 2 weeks with our foot in the house and one on the curb at all times in our own land. Get the point? And then lying to our babies, telling them how saved they are. Because we follow them behind Rome. Now, these are two memos from the Attorney General of the United States and preliminary memo from the Department of Defense. I'm going to read these two paragraphs. And this is 3874, page 374. Remember, these are not sequential because this is redacted material. So while the page numbers, this is only a thin book, this is only what was released. And even now, you can't get this now. You understand what I'm saying? And even when you go on the website to get it, they closed out material. You understand? And there was very few sources for this anymore. And that's only what's been released. And it's only because people are waking up. Note, at the appropriate time to be designated by the president, the leaders of some of these organizations, and you have 12 of them listed up here, are to be detained only when it is clear that they cannot prevent the emergency, which means things are going to get really bad. Working with local public officials during the first critical hours. That's why they're training people to do this stop and frisk now. To little by little get you used to what's getting ready to come. You understand what I'm saying to you? All other leaders are to be detained at once. Compiled lists of minority leaders have been readied at the National Data Computer Center. It is necessary to use the minority leaders designated by the President in much the same manner in which we use minority members who are agents with central and federal. These leaders are agents with central and federal. This is what the politicians know that you have not known. And we cannot, until there is no alternative, reveal King Alfred in all its aspects. Minority members of the Congress will be unseated at once. And this move is not without precedent in American history. Attorney General, United States. Memo from the Joint Chiefs of Staff from the Department of Defense. This memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and that report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy. Pay attention to this and make notes. He will be a formidable enemy, referring to all these people called Negroes, Blacks, Latinos, all these people. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage. What did I just tell you? You didn't come from nowhere else. The so-called black diaspora is a reconstructed fiction. Does anybody miss what I just told you? Your view of yourself and the view that these politicians have of you is two different eyes. They know who you are. Your problem is you don't know who you are. Their sociology and political dilemma is maintaining status quo when the world is changing. And they need all of us to recoup their power. Because we have a tradition of going fighting wars for them, keeping them in power. So they can't afford for you to wake up and recognize you've been shafted too. So they got to keep you in that belief state that everything's all right, that you saved. Our country, we sick master type mentality. You understand? Because if we don't fight their wars, they can't win. You understand what I'm saying? When Rome goes to and fro the earth, devouring nations, if the Moors who are branded black with them don't go, they're out of power. So they must keep you in a belief state of the fiction of your freedom under the 14th Amendment. Because everyone listed under there is listed as corporations, which is why they're having problems with this immigration issue with the Mexicans, because they used it against them, because they know they have us listed under there as corporations. So they've been sending women here pregnant 9 months in order to get automatic citizenship under the 14th Amendment, in spite of the fact that it's corporate, because they know eventually they can outnumber them. It's a political strategy. You got to remember the European-Mexican War that they're calling the Mexican-American War, which it is not. So don't think that the rest of the world ain't thinking just because we've been sleeping. So now the Europeans have a dilemma because they got to unravel the 14th Amendment to solve the immigration problem. And they can't hide it because the feds have sued the state of Arizona. So it's not a political football that they can easily push under the rug. But if they keep messing with this, they're going to help you wake up. It's sort of like they open the box on one end, and truth is going to be running out the other end. It's a thing that they've been having sealed. It's a Masonic secret that they've been having sealed for quite some time, comfortably.